have a great representation for this talk, how Volkswagen uses VR to enhance SAP implementation projects. So Graham, could you introduce our speakers?
Sure. So we've actually got to really, unfortunately, as Natalia mentioned, we've lost Malte from Volkswagen, but we've got Michael Spies from SAP, and we've got our very own Christian May as well, who's been heavily involved in working on exactly some of these projects with Volkswagen. So we've got a lot of expertise on here, and without further ado, I'm going to step off the stage and pass it over to you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. So, can I share somehow? Yeah, good. Let me look. Okay. So you see my screen? Good. Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, Malte Hiedemann is not there. But yeah, as I'm also doing and have done implementation projects, I can also a little bit tell about his slides. But of course, yeah, I will not so good as he is, but I try my best. I did instead of talking too much about Volkswagen, put a little bit more slides about our offering here. So yeah, and Christian May will support me on the Innoactive solutions. And yeah, welcome to this session. I mean, you know, maybe Volkswagen is, in my point of view, really a pioneer here when it comes to virtual reality. I have seen the factory and in Wolfsburg and also in Emden, and you see virtual reality devices everywhere. They have special rooms, yeah. They know the processes, and they have so many, great Unity and install base, yeah. So I think it's really was a wonderful, customer for me to work with, and yeah, I now share the thoughts Malte has and why virtual reality is so important when it comes to implementing S/4HANA to big customers, like Volkswagen and others. Yeah, I'm from SAP, so maybe you have not so many touch points in SAP software. So yeah, we are doing basically software for big enterprises, and the main focus is enterprise resource planning. So I mean, every department is somehow connected with SAP, and almost every user in the company is using our software. Yeah, and then such a new product like S/4HANA comes on the market with lots of course new features and benefits. Then customers tend to hesitate and say, well, I mean, why should I make this big move? What are really the benefits of that new system? And if I'm doing this big step, where many times millions of euros must be invested, then why not changing the business process also together with the new system? Yeah. Although, I mean, this is attractive, it is also very challenging, because, as I said, every department is affected, and you need, first have all that knowledge, what is the new system. You need, of course, design it. You have to be very accurate and really consider every department. And then it comes to change. So at one point of time, they really have to work differently. And this mindset to overcome is sometimes hard. There's always someone who's saying, "Oh, why should I change my current process? It works fine." Yeah, and also, of course, the cost of that must be considered. I mean, especially in these difficult times, where budget cuts are normal. Yeah, so but Malte and also, of course, me is convinced that virtual reality can help here, a lot, because I mean, we make this business process, this new change, more transparent. people do not have to read manuals and papers and documents, yeah, and even may not even understand now what's the impact of me. And with virtual reality, we have here a way to really transparent, give a change and show this change to the users. And we Malte thinks that unfortunately we could not try it out yet due to this COVID-19 situation, that we would save 10% of the working hours in SAP projects. I mean, 10%. I mean, if you know maybe how much consulting hour costs, you know, of an SAP consultant, and how much effort you need, and then you save 10%. Well, I mean, this is really, if we get this in a return, then I would say we have really a breakthrough in this new methodology. Okay. This is a great video. It was it shows, you know, how deep Volkswagen has invested in this topic, and you see already some processes which can be simulated, but what is missing and not yet there is the SAP integration, to bring the SAP software now, the steps, the UI which you have to enter and input in the simulation, and then I think the users get really a good transparent view what will be the new process with S/4HANA. And I know we have talked a lot in the previous sessions about VR training, and of course VR training has its benefits. Yeah, you train the muscle, the brain, the muscle memory, and so on. But besides that VR training use case, Malte sees here a lot more benefit if you are using it in the so-called design workshops. And for this, you can already start with in the beginning with a global template toolkit where you define how the new process looks like in general, which you can then more refine if you are in a special factory or you know at Skoda or Audi, to make that even more closer to the process, bring it closer to the reality. And then, you know, if you then also include the system, the SAP system where the processes are supported, then you are very good and very close to reality, and help to provide help to prevent design failures. So that's just a picture that gives you an idea of our daily job. So SAP consultants are sitting in workshops, I mean, before COVID-19 at least. And then, you know, you have all the problems to get all people on one table. But then you start discussing it, but you know, you do not have really the business process in front of you. So you try to help you with paper mock-ups or with drawings. And then, you know, the SAP consultant in that last picture comes and explains the system, but how is this connected? So, and still, you know, there is a lot of dangers to get these misunderstandings. So we can change that with VR, and with the Innoactive tool set here. So because, as said, we can visualize the processes, we can also bring the people together, and business and IT understand each other much better as they do the process in real. And of course, if someone sees that process and is executing it, then he can also accept that new process more easily, and the project will be implemented faster. And of course, the training aspect in the end should also not be neglected, but that's the end of the supply chain. So yeah, I like now to give you here the video we have built for the POC in this was a factory in Emden. And you see here now a simulation of stock taking process. Yeah. So, okay, usually you would not fly through a warehouse, but I mean, why not having a little fun in a VR session? Yeah. Well, if you don't get sick, of course you can also teleport. No? But okay, now to the real part. Yeah. So you see here a real business case where you have a case which is now open, and someone put already some items away, and now with our solution you can do your stock taking process with your scanner software, which runs in S/4HANA, and you now can scan these labels like you would do it in real life. And once you have connected it to the SAP system, you can now scan these barcode labels. First, you have to scan the storage bin, of course. And now you see these steps, these business process steps you have to make. You have to really physical make, and now you get this understanding of the business process much easier. Now you see that the handling unit is filled, and then later on you can, of course, complete the scanning. Yeah. Okay, here are some details that you have to count it. Yeah, because the box is open, now you have to count it, otherwise you just scan the master handling unit. Good. But now how to come to this process? And you may ask here, this might be very difficult to implement. Actually, I think it's not. We have done this quite easily, and we know that with more assets we have a kind of reusable asset library, and then each new process can be faster implemented than the business process before. So the steps you need for that is first the XR Cloud. That is a project solution we are now offering also to other customers, which connects the SAP system with the XR Cloud. And in that XR Cloud, you find so-called smart assets, which are Unity binaries or Unity packages, which you can implement and run and click in the Innoactive creator, like the scanner or the barcode labels. And our promise is then that you can prepare this workshop with no code. That is especially an effort of the Innoactive creator here, that you do not need development skills. And later on, if you have prepared your workshop, you can execute it via the portal so that everyone has access. And once you have executed workshop, you can use these results for your business blueprint in a solution manager. That is our instance where we document blueprints, but you can also use other tools. We have a very tight integration from the XR Cloud to the Innoactive Creator. The sub-solution manager is only loosely coupled with here the solution. So I will not point that out later in detail. But now let's have a look. We really built the solution, so it's not only slides. Yeah, I did yesterday a small video where you see now the Smart Asset Cloud, where you see these Unity assets we prepare. And here, for instance, we have our famous Zapster. That's a car we have built internally, which where you have a preview. But now what's really important, you have a version concept, and now you have the target platform. So you have a kind of, you can download it as a binary at runtime, Or what you don't see in the picture here, you can also have it as a Unity package. So everyone who has access to that Smart Asset Cloud can then download this to the Innoactive Creator. And I will quickly show how this works. Just to complete that here, that you see also real labels from the SAP system, which can also be used. And later on, after you have your asset library, you set this up in so-called scenes with the XR Scene Designer. And now remember just here these the Wareneingang, where you have now assigned these smart assets for your business process, for your goods received process. And then we are now going to the Innoactive Creator, which Christian will explain later in detail and much better. But I want now to show you that we have here that SAP a plugin. It's a part of the open source project we share. And we work together with Innoactive to build that. And now you see here that exactly that scene from the scene designer can be now accessed. And we are now importing these smart assets, these labels here into the Innoactive Creator, and then can work with them like any other normal Unity game object. And then this looks as you have already seen. We can now scan these labels also with a SAP backend system behind that with the Innoactive Creator. And I think you're now eager to know more about the Innoactive Creator. So I pass over to Christian.
Do you mind to unshare your screen so I can share my screen? It would be easier for me to control. Okay, screen 1, screen 2, share, PowerPoint, and play. So I hope now you can see my PowerPoint presentation, because I now need to get you back so I can see you again. Okay, perfect. So the really nice thing is this collaboration with SAP, because we are working on this open source product we just talked about, the Innoactive Creator. And basically, we as Innoactive, we said, okay, we need software to get on the market that helps you to scale the creation of VR training applications, because today it's like you're building application by application. And what we wanted to have is a tool like the Creator that helps you to standardize this training application creation and to produce more in less time. So, for example, we provide this GUI that already provides you with a workflow. And that's the interesting thing, because the SAP system really nice integrates with the backend of the SAP cloud. And it also provides you with assets. And it also provides you with these smart assets that let you interact with the SAP system. What it does not provide is the connection between the virtual environment and the task there and the system. We'll come to that in a second. But the Creator helps you in making a 3D scene interactive and basically a process-based experience. Then, if you have a lot of apps built, you will ask for how do I get this actually to my clients and my customers, or distributed internally, and this on a secure way, so my data and my applications are secure. Then the Innoactive Portal comes into play. It helps you to manage your versions, manage your audience, and to distribute your apps. What we envision here, and I already teased that, is the combination of the SAP system, where SAP built this wonderful template on top of our software, where they integrated their smart assets. So you can actually interact with the backend, as you can see up here, by starting a process, getting a label, whatever. But actually, when you are in a real-world example, in a real-world task, you will have to interact a lot with the environment. In this case, we have a worker on the left side. You can see our workflow editor down here that will receive a task by his boss. Then he needs to find his workplace in the second step, and then he starts to interact with the SAP system. So we get everything together with the help of our creator. Virtual environment, SAP system, and a worker who can try it out. So the question now is, how do we do that? And the interesting thing is, what I want to show here is the highlight of this button, so somebody knows what to do in the virtual world, and then just simply printing a label. So how do we make this button interactive really easily? So how do we actually interact with this backend system? And for this, you will use the Innoactive Creator. Down here, you can see me interacting in the course editor. It's visual programming. So the whole process is actually stored in this workflow. And what I do here, I simply create a new step. The step of you have to touch this button. It might be, or it might be an input to your barcode scanner. This is really, really handy because you don't need to learn programming. As you can see here, I want to highlight an object now. So we have a template that preserves your look and feel of your training, or in case of SAP, the interaction with the backend system, and it checks for the correct action. And as you can also see is, I connect the 3D geometry with this interactive possibilities by simple drag and drop actions. So this is really, really easy to do. And the same counts for the SAP system. And by working on all of this, we found out that there's some use cases. I will have to talk later about the creator in detail, but here's more about the use case. So what can we do with the creator actually when you're working with the SAP system? Of course, it's training, but it's a procedural workflow editor. So every task is procedural and that you want to work on, you can put in here. And one example is that we had is you have your workflow and you come to your customer facility and you see, oh, it's a little bit different there, and I might have an idea. So in this case, the idea is I don't want to have the screen on the right side. It might be necessary to have the screen on the left side. In the physical world, it's really hard to show and demonstrate to your client or to demonstrate internally or simply try it out on your own. Here it gets really, really easy. I already prepared it here, so you can see the step down here, and I already have two conditions in here. So it's the right screen on top and the left screen on the bottom. So it doesn't matter which one I choose, it's already integrated in the process, and I can simply play around with this. But then, you find around, you go on location and you demonstrate your process in the location, you discover they have different type of screens. And actually there's no place down here. We have to put a monitor up there. So on location, you could try out, just simply have some dummy object like this screen, put it up there and show it to your client, and you can simply try it out. So what I do now, I'm with my client and he says, okay, we need to try it out. I add something, add a new condition here and integrate the screen that I put on the desk up there to find out, is the process still working? Can people reach it? Is it still something you can see? Because when it's done, you can experience in VR. And as you can see now, I integrated the screen in the workflow, in the virtual workflow. I press play in the process to start the process. I click the button and it is integrated into the workflow. And this makes it really, really, really handy in everyday tasks and makes it faster to iterate and to test your SAP systems and your workflows in combination with the actual real environment. So the virtual real environment, but still, I think you get the point. Another thing that's really interesting that we found is reusing workflows. So imagine you setting up a process and this process is really powerful. So in our workflow editor down here, we already have preserved the single steps you have to do to complete this workflow and this process. What we can do now, what you can see me down here, I take this process we already defined and I reuse it because we build it for facility A and facility B might have the same needs, but there's always something a little bit different. There might be a door that somebody has to go through. There might be different kind of screens or input devices to use, but still the workflow is the same. And instead of building the workflow again and again and again, I can reuse it. And all I have to do, as you can see here, I need to find the corresponding geometry and bring it back into the workflow so that the workflow knows, okay, where's the things a person needs to interact with. So this is looking from the use case side. Now we have a lot of applications created, and that's what we want. We want to have a lot of training applications or demonstrating applications, anything that's related to a process. And now you need to distribute everything to your customers, clients, whoever. As we have user management, we don't really care who is your target audience. You can decide which user or which group of users can see which of your applications. And adding and versioning your application is really, really handy and easy. So it's just some inputs you need to do and just some information you need to give to the backend, of course, the application. And then you just press submit and you have stored it in the backend. It is secure. The good thing is, as you will see now, is that we also have something we call permission. So the access to your applications, so actually starting the application, deciding who is allowed to start, you can manage this. So you can also manage this time somebody has access to an application when the person is offline. And if there's no authentication with the backend, the application can't be started anymore. Finally, the portal can be customized to your needs. I give here a very simple example. I simply change the background to a purple color. I don't know what your company's or business color is, but you can see this would be the effect of this, just to demonstrate that you can put your look and feel onto our framework that helps you to distribute your applications. Finally, let's have a quick look at the client side. All the client will have to do, the user has to do, is start the Innoactive portal on a desktop client, log in, of course, because he needs to authenticate, and then there's 2 button presses. So basically 3 actions: plugging in the headset, installing the app, pressing play. So this all you need to do. And what you can see now, it's an older version. I like to show it because it shows this is the authorization. Now it's authorized. In your usual workflow user journey, you won't see that. And then the user is in VR and can try out whatever you were envisioned to present to your user. So this is a brief overview of how SAP and Creator plays together and how you get everything to your client. And with this, I give back to Michael.
Yeah, thank you. I will also share this again. So, yeah, a little more words about the smart asset and the reuse factor here. I mean, we learned yesterday from Graham that there is a content gap. Yeah, we do not have enough content. Many companies struggle here that they have to start from scratch. And my idea is that, I mean, with SAP, we have really many customers who have on the one side are manufacturers and on the other side are operators and using machines, for instance. Yeah, these machines from the other side. So, and there's really a kind of business network we have here in our customer install base. So it is also, I mean, as you see here, these smart assets are important to use in virtual reality, you know, like also machines, with all their functionality, which you bring in the virtual reality world. But you can then also reuse the same smart asset for augmented experience, because it runs on Unity, and Unity is perfect for XR applications when it comes to augmented reality or mixed reality with the HoloLens, for instance. So actually, we support both use cases, and the smart assets are then collected in the XR cloud. They are available, and to really create these smart assets, we have a kind of integration, Unity integration toolkit, which is part of our offering. And yeah, if you have seen in the Innoactive Creator, there's this button SAP, and there will be also a button when you install the Unity integration toolkit, which gives you now the possibility to first create your own smart assets, but then also use other plugins from other SAP software, for example, SAP EPD, which allows you to import CAD models and create smart assets out of them. Yeah, and I'm speaking here about any CAD model, because we have really here good software, Visual Enterprise, which converts every CAD model in a neutral format, which is even more performant than the old one. And then we convert that with Unity integration toolkit into a smart asset and upload it into the XR cloud for further reuse, for these both use cases. And in addition, in a kind of beta release, we have also functionality to import master data from the warehouse management software. We call this extended warehouse management, EWM. And this, for instance, allows you that what you have customized in the warehouse, in the SAP system, can then be displayed and visualized in Unity. So basically, you can build your own warehouse when you have a warehouse process based on SAP master data. And this gives you, of course, a lot more opportunities to really bring your business process you're intended to very close to reality. And on the right side, you see the sub-cloud platform services, which building the XR cloud offering. And here you have seen the video about the Smart Assets Cloud, where we host the smart assets, and Scene Designer, which connects the smart assets with any backend system. I won't go into that details, which would fill another hour. But remember, if you are using the sub-cloud platform, or if customers, have a sub-cloud platform tenant, then it is very easy to integrate any backend system to the XR cloud, because that's kind of integration platform we are offering for our customers. Let's maybe have a look at what vision we have with smart assets. If you think this a little bit further, I mean, we are not yet there, but imagine you are now able to create your own smart assets. And imagine you are a manufacturer, and you're not only visualizing now virtual reality processes with your machine, which how to assemble, how you manufacture it. But now, I mean, once you have built this in Unity, why not, selling it via Ariba, for instance, to other customers of the manufacturers, so-called operators, to train, for instance, specific machine processes, or even just to evaluate if this machine really fits into their maybe already only available digital plant. So by sharing smart assets through our business networks, and we have not only Ariba, we have also our asset network where we can maintain assets, and also the logistic network where we also see here benefits, to share, for instance, the loading as smart assets. So what we have loaded in the truck, you can share also together with the business data to such a network, and get here also easier processes. But the main point is here that, of course, the smart asset you are creating as a customer really belong to you. So the IP is yours. I mean, this is very important because all these manufacturers really fear that if they give their CAD model away, it could be used for bad things, for copying it. So the IP belongs really here to the customer, and he is in charge of deciding if we want to share it and over our networks. So this could eventually and finally close that content gap, because every customer will then be eager to have their own product in the smart asset cloud, and every operator can then retrieve these assets and embed them in their virtual reality simulation, or for augmented reality use cases. So just the final slide, when you are asking, okay, but how can I really create such a smart asset when I'm a manufacturer? That gives you only an idea. I know we have many on the design time. When you're designing a product, you have third-party products, like Siemens and CAD systems. And there is a way to not, of course, only retrieve the 3D data, but also the business data, and enrich it through the design to operate process with further SAP master data. And then we can share these smart assets with that powerful business data to our networks, to the Innoactive creator, or also to other XR devices when it comes to augmented reality. Yeah, so this is the concept we have here. It works, hopefully well. And I mean, if you have interested, you can contact me, and you can join this solution, project solution. Not yet a product, but the more join to this project solution, the more likely it will become a product, and it will become really big. But it depends on the customers who are working with us. So it's not that we have a product roadmap and an investment and we go this road. No, we really depend on customers who are going this way with us. Yeah, and Volkswagen is one of these customers who are going this way with us. Yet for the virtual reality use case, and I'm happy really to continue that great work with Malte, and because I mean we see that we have benefits in virtual reality, when it comes to implementing S/4HANA, and I think we are pretty sure to get these savings done, and that this will be a blueprint for other customers as well. Yeah, thank you very much. That is my presentation, and Christian's also. And now, you can ask me some questions, Christian. I'm now here.
Cool.
And read your chat.
I'll step back in there as the moderator. Thanks for that, guys. Really much appreciated. On a personal level, I found that awesome to listen to. It's kind of how the industry is growing up at smart assets and implementing various systems together. It's a really good sign of maturity. So we've got a few questions in, but open call to the audience as well. Feel free, please just write them in the chat and we will get there, guys, to answer them. We do have two experts here, so it's a really good opportunity. So the first question we had in, now this may already be answered. So Kreshno, you wrote a question about asking for more detail. Just drop a note in the chat whether that was then answered by Christian presenting. I'm going to move on to the other questions in the meantime, but if it's not fully answered, then we will come back and do that. So here's one from Marta Fulger. So which tool do you use to convert your models from CAD to the appropriate XR format?
Yeah, that's a Visual Enterprise generator you can use. The product can be subscribed. Yeah. Okay.
Are you doing a lot of do you find yourself having to do a lot of compression there, I'm sure, to get that to sort of run smoothly with NXR, or you?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Just to Visual Enterprise Generator is an on-premise tool. You have also a cloud version which you can purchase and of course run much easier. Yeah.
Understood.
Sorry.
Okay. Now there was one from Robin that Christian, you kind of picked up a bit in the chat already. I don't know how much of that will overlap your presentation or not, but Robin asked, how many people do you have working on one of these projects? What are their roles? For example, developers, 3D modelers, etc. Or do you have each developer trained for different roles within the project? So are they multi-skilled developers, or do you have very specific ones?
So there's, as always, no black and white. It's a lot of gray. So it depends on how large are your projects, on which stage of maturity and integrating virtuality into your company is already. What do you expect from virtuality? So it's always like a trade-off between different stakeholders, and they will negotiate and then they will find out. So basically, the simplest solution is you have a developer who ideally has some background in training or usability or UX, so he knows how to teach people stuff and he knows how to model 3D scenes. That's the ideal case, but still then you have one person that needs to take care for everything. So when using the creator, it gets a little bit easier for him because he already have something to start. He doesn't have to build everything from the scratch, so he can focus on building up the 3D scenes, so taking up this role of a 3D modeler, of course, and of course the other side, understanding the actual need for the process to collect all this data you need and to negotiate, okay, how do we want to represent this process in virtual reality? Because as we saw in virtual reality, you can show highlights to guide the attention of persons in the virtual reality. But how should it be in your company's training? And this guy has to, or this girl has to decide at this point. If you grow bigger, you start to build a network. Of course, it's like in every production, you will have 3D modelers to take care for the scene. You will have the subject matter experts who know how to build training. And now again, the creator puts everything together, because the creator builds a standardization, a framework where everybody can build up on. So it doesn't matter on which PC I am, as soon as I'm using the creator, I can build a training according to my standards, because we standardize with the creator. So the person building the training can build the workflow, can give certain information to an object. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with gray boxing, for example. So it means if the 3D model is not ready yet, he can simply put a cube in the scene and say, okay, you are now a table and somebody has to put something on you at some point in the process. And as soon as the model is there, he can replace it easily. So these two roles can start work in collaboration, and the creator will connect both roles. And by this, you can start scaling, because you're not depending on somebody having to finish one process, for example, 3D models. And you can use actually roles that fit to the position. So as I said, the training designer role, the one who is creating the process and defining how the training should look like, mostly is somebody from the training department. So he will or she will know how they teach processes, and they know how the processes look like. And with the creator, they can get access to Unity. They don't have to, have big knowledge in development. They need to learn some basics. How do I save a scene? How do I get a model into the scene? And how do I move it around? But you can learn this within a day. So that's the other question. We train these people. So the training designer with no knowledge, we say, okay, 1 day for Unity, 1 day for using the creator. For a developer, Unity developer, to program for the Innoactive creator, to make to adapt the Innoactive creator to your needs. It will take 1 day of the creator designer role to understand what does it do, and 1 day for the developer role. So how do I program within the creator framework? Because it's a little bit different to Unity programming, because we want to have everything modularized and future-proof. So every component that's in the creator, you can simply take out and take another component in. So you don't get locked into one configuration.
That's a good answer. Thank you. and also in the meantime, you guys have been multitasking here, as Michelle has been answering in the background for Burkhard. So, Burkhard, I'm going to leave your questions there, but if you've got any follow-ups, do message, please. But yeah, hopefully you've got the document Michelle sent. And we've just got a couple of questions from Justin as well, actually. So, firstly, can you generate assessment reports with the tool? And if yes, what can we assess?
Yeah, what tool? Innoactive Creator?
I read this as Innoactive Creator in this sense.
Okay, so basically what we offer out of the box is some kind of analytic features that tell you how often was an app used, how often was an app installed, so the general application usage. If you talk about in-app analytics or even assessment of the quality of interaction in VR, so like did he complete the task wrong or right, the worker or the user, the interface we offer with the interactive framework provides this option, so you can easily access all this information and create your own analysis, or even connect it to a learning management system. Out of the box today, we don't provide this this connection today, but it's not too much of an effort to adapt it to your needs and to whatever you want to have. Okay,
and another one from Justin. It's kind of modeled, I think, on the job interview question. What's your biggest weakness? So from deploying in the market with data, are there any use cases, Christian, you've seen that maybe actually where it's not ideal, where you'd look at something else?
Of course, we don't build open world games. So if you need to manage 10,000 of uncontrolled entities flowing around, that's not what we're aiming for. We are aiming for processes. But what we found in discussion with our prospects, customers, clients, which relation they are to us doesn't matter, is very often they asked for having this open world interactivity in VR. But this often is origin from not really thinking about what their process is. So an example is was on an assembly line. If you assemble something, somebody will define how it should be, so that you don't hurt your back, or you're really fast, or you don't do any mistake. So to make this optimal, you have to follow certain steps. And that's what the creator is doing, processes. But then customers said to us, okay, but our workers do it for 20 years and they have different workflows and they do it on their own way. And of course, yes, they do it on their own way, but sometimes you tend to do stuff that's not right. And then they found out while working with them, oh yeah, it's just because we didn't train them for a long time how to do it properly, to preserve their health, to prevent errors, and to save costs. So yes, open world games is the limitation, but on the other side, in industrial tasks, most of the times, you just have to think about, isn't there a process in the background that we just don't follow because of reasons?
Good. And I mean, you hit on one of the things that just sends shivers through my spine is when you ask somebody, so why do you do it like that? Well, it was just how we've always done it, actually. And you know there's a challenge there. So in the meantime, thank you very much for sharing some tools there with the audience, Sophia. As a general addendum, one thing I love about this industry, and it may be the fact we're reasonably young in this and we're still growing together, is just a very open and warm, supportive approach. So yeah, thank you for that. Just looking, I think that's the questions so far covered off. Natalia, are you seeing any that I've missed?
No, but if you still have questions, I think Michael and Christian can stay for a while in the chat and just answer, although Christian will be busy in the next half an hour, but still there's still time to ask your questions, and if they are not answered now, they will definitely be answered in the summary that you all will get post-event. So I think we can maybe move on to our next talk, or in the meantime, make a brief summary of our polls, because they are really, really interesting. So Yeah, so Christian, you can stay. Michael, thank you very much for your input and your insights. It was a great presentation. I think there are still more questions that will come, so stay in the chat.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.